Hello and welcome back to Paragon, and it's a new dawn for Paragon itself on August 8th with the release of the biggest patch the game will have seen so far. The entire meta and core of the game has been drastically changed in many ways, and it's pretty overwhelming for players. So here's a video dedicated to the major changes in a quick and easy to understand format. It's everything you need to know about Paragon's new dawn. Let's start with the most obvious change, the new CP system. Previously, you'd kill things and get CP, and then you'd spend that CP on cards and upgrades for those cards too. You'd be able to have up to 6 cards at once, with 4 of those being active cards at the maximum. Now, you'll simply gather gold instead of CP. Then, using that gold, you're going to buy gems. Gems give you instant passive bonuses, which you can buy and activate on the fly from anywhere on the map at any time. And it should be noted that each gem upgrade costs exactly 1000 gold, just like how 1 CP used to be 1000 CXP. Let's look at what gems actually are though. We have 3 major attributes for gems. It's agility, vitality, and intellect. Any character can put points into any of these attributes, but what do these attributes actually do? Well, agility provides attack speed and basic armor as you spend more gold on agility. Meanwhile, vitality will provide raw health upgrades and health regen as well. Then intellect provides raw mana upgrades and mana regen as well. So you can clearly see agility might be more suited to those who are doing basic attacks, vitality might be more suited to those taking damage and tanking, and intellect might be more suited to those who are casting lots of spells, aka casters. But you can really mix and match on any character. But what's with these bigger gems in these slots here? Well, every 5 gems inside of an attribute will then go ahead to unlock a larger gem upgrade. These bigger gems are worth a lot, and the deeper you get into an attribute, the better these major gem slots actually are. Early game gems and late game gems. You'll be able to change which major gems you're trying to unlock each game via the deck you made beforehand. So, looking at the gems we can choose from, I can pick up to 6 major gems in each deck, meaning I could have 5 in intellect and just 1 in agility, or 3 vitality major gems while also having 3 major agility gems. It's up to you what you want, but early game major gems or late game major gems, it's going to be your choice. I'd say the most obvious choice would be 2 early game style ones, 2 mid game style ones, and maybe 2 late game style ones as a basic gem setup, though I can always expect we will get more fancy with it as we go. So that's gems. You buy passive bonuses with gold as you go from wherever you are on the map, and sometimes you'll get a big upgrade when you reach a major gem. But what happened to cards? Cards are still in the game, and they're pretty insane. There's tons of new, ridiculous actives, effects, and passives you're going to get from cards because they're so strong. You're not going to be able to use as many as you used to be able to. You're now limited to 3 cards maximum, but you'll be able to swap those cards in and out as much as you want. In the deck builder, you'll pick 12 cards that you're planning to use in-game. Then, once you're in-game, you can equip them and unequip them and re-equip them as much, whenever, however you want. Let's say I want to buy a ward, but I've got all of my free slots activated and used by cards. Well, I can just unequip one temporarily, buy the ward in that slot that's now free, go use it, then come back later and pick up that card that I unequipped earlier again. But how am I actually buying cards? What's the currency I'm buying cards with? Well, it's gems. Let's say you put 4 points into intellect gems because you're a caster, and now you can buy the 4 intellect gem cost card at the base. Well, in this case, this card is called Soldier of Fortune and it allows you to activate it every 90 seconds. You can use it to instantly kill a minion to reward gold and experience, kind of like Hand of Midas from Dota 2. Now you spent 4 intellect gems, you have 0 left. So let's say you want to buy the Thaumaturge here. You'll need to spend another 7 points into intellect to be able to afford it. Or you could even unequip that 4 cost Soldier of Fortune, spend 3 more points in intellect, now you have the 7 you need for that card. But cards cost lots of different gems. The more expensive the card is, well, yeah, it's going to be more powerful, which is why some of these actives are nuts, such as Sleeper Agent. It's a target silence with a 45-second cooldown. Damn. So, in summary, you can choose up to 12 cards to put in your deck. Some are going to be cheaper to buy in the early game, some are going to be for the mid game, and some for the late game, just like normal. You might throw in a ward, potions, or other utility cards to make up the rest of the potential card slots. And you're also going to need to choose which 6 major gems you're going to run and slam them into the deck too. But what happened to affinities? Fury, Growth, Order? Well, they've been reworked too. Now every character can use any affinity. Yeah, I know. There are now 5 affinities. Growth, Knowledge, Order, Death, and Chaos. So whichever 2 affinities you end up choosing to create your deck from, that will decide what cards you're able to put into that deck. Naturally, you can't put Knowledge cards into your deck if you've got Order and Death, for example. So just like before, but now you're way less limited, and every character can run any card in the game. So you'll have to find out what works best for each character. The possibilities just went sky high, so it might take some testing. Finally, for major changes, attack speed and ability cooldowns are changed too. Every character will be swinging a lot faster right from the start, and abilities are also on a shorter recharge time too. So that's more attacks and abilities in every fight. They did this to make it feel faster and more fluid, but despite it, the time to kill is actually slightly slower and takes slightly longer. I guess they reduced the damage of everything, while gems and cards make up for that. There's the major changes to the game. Let's talk about the fantastic rework to Iggy and Scorch. Here's his new abilities. Fire Spit. It's his new basic attack, and it goes from Iggy throwing bombs to Scorch now shooting fireballs. Then we have Molotov, which is his right click. It's now an 18-second cooldown ability. He throws a Molotov, which burns on a spot for about 8 seconds, and then it also rips away 1 ability armor every second an enemy stands in it. His Q, Flame Turret, returns. 7-second cooldown, throw a turret, but this one, it shoots homing fireballs at the enemy within its range for up to 30 seconds, dealing ability damage. You can now have up to 4 turrets at once right from the start, and on top of that, if you hit a target with Fire Spit, Iggy's new basic attack, all of the turrets will attack that same target. So let's say you place 4 turrets on the ground, someone's attacking you and they're in range of all the turrets. The moment you send out a basic attack, all of your turrets are suddenly turn on that target and help you kill it. E, Burning Sensation. It's a passive that causes the basic attacks of Iggy and the flame turrets to apply a dot. It's damage over time. So it's going to do ability damage over the space of 6 seconds, but that timer will reset every time you land another basic on the target, or a turret even hits an attack on the target. Similar to Moragesh's Hive Bomb, it's a dot that does a lot of damage. And finally, the ultimate Blaze. Iggy will buff up his flame turrets. They're going to go into overdrive for 6 seconds, and during this overdrive they do 25% more ability damage and also apply a minus 100 movement speed slow. So multiple of these turrets all overdriving into one target. It's pretty ridiculous damage. And there you have it. Iggy is way more suited to Paragon now. He feels more mobile and way more bursty. Having the ability to control all 4 turrets at once to attack one specific target is so good and how it should have been. And the slow from the ultimate is really good. You can combo it really well. Let's say you slow someone with that ultimate and then throw a Molotov circle right under them. It's a simple but great combo. So let's talk about some other changes that are good to know, but maybe aren't as major. Last hits are now making a satisfying coin sound to represent your little gain of gold, and there's something about it that sings to me. It reminds me of the Dota 2 sound a lot. Your current cards will be transferred into veteran chests, so all the cards you've collected now are going to be converted into the chests. You open the chests and you get the new cards via the RNG of opening chests. I guess the more cards you have now, the more chests you're going to get when we transfer over. Decks can be used by any character, so when you go in game, you're not going to have to choose from your Murdoch decks. Murdoch can just pick any of the decks you've made so far. So naturally, you'll want to pick the ones more suited to that character, but it's possible to pick a jungle deck as a carry. We have a new mastery system in place too. There's no hero level cap anymore instead of it being 10, and the leveling will be a lot faster too. There's a lot more rewards in each tier as well as you get higher in the mastery, and there's new mastery rewards themselves with crowns. Crowns have different tiers to them. They're like bigger, cooler as you master the character more. They're this cooler looking helmet that you can have on your head of your character. If you don't like them for whatever reason, you can turn them off, but I think they look really cool. We also get rival skins and more emotes too. Rival skins appear to be more interesting reskins and recolors when compared to the Challenger skins, and some of them are so good. Just look at the Challenger Sevarog compared to the rival Sevarog. Like, wow. Wow. Oh, and you'll also unlock some cards by leveling masteries too, so that's useful. And one final thing I half mentioned is the new way that wards work. You don't buy one and it has 2 charges and that regenerates over time. It's basically a consumable that you use once. So the moment you place it, the card is consumed, like a health pot, and you need to buy another using gold. So this is going to limit how many wards will be on the map at any time, but what really limits it is the fact that ward cards are currently only something you can get if you picked the order affinity. So if you don't have any order players on your team, then you don't have any wards. That's going to really prevent the Paragon we've always known on Monolith, aka we see them, they see us all the time. So I'm really glad to see this change as a jungler. Speaking of junglers, with the new attack speed change, jungling appears to be really easy now. It doesn't really feel like you have to kite anymore. The moment you get any form of lifesteal from gems or whatever, you just stand there and left click. Not sure how I feel about that one. That's going to do it for now. There's more to discuss, but I wanted to keep this video focused on the major aspects of the change of the game, the ones that you really do need to know. Thanks for watching and listening. I hope you found the video useful. If you did, maybe give it a like. More Paragon soon on the channel. Bye for now, guys.